How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Perfect Reload. My name is Steve, and we are here today to do something a little bit different because Grand Theft Auto is back on everyone's mind following the release of the long-awaited trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6. And I thought, why not take a little bit of a walk down memory lane and discuss, no, not just discuss, but rank the best GTA characters. And we have several categories today. Invited to the barbecue. These are the guys these are your close associates. They're coming by the house. You're okay with a pop-in. They got pop-in status. They can hop by whenever you want. Helps you hide a body. Well, maybe you don't want this guy popping in, but he's reliable enough that you trust him with some pretty dirty business. Cool, but don't call me at home. We all know these people. They're all right, but you don't necessarily want people to know that you associate with them. And then the next step beyond that, we're not friends, officer. I only know him from work. Definitely not the kind of person you really want any known associations with. He just kind of, you have a magnetism towards him. He's kind of attracted to you in some way, and it's never a good thing. And then finally, wasted, which will be especially reserved for some of the people on this list. So obviously we're not going through every single character out there in the Grand Theft Auto universe because there are a lot to get through. And I also limited this to the following games: Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto 4, Grand Theft Auto 5. We don't need to get into Vice City stories and Grand Theft Auto Advance and all that stuff. And there's, the original two Grand Theft Auto games plus the London expansion, they had personalities, but, they weren't these narrative cutscene driven games that we have been accustomed to since the days of the PlayStation 2. And speaking of the days of PlayStation 2, why don't we get started with our very own original dude, Claude Speed. Claude Speed, he was actually not known as Claude Speed at the time. He is the silent protagonist from Grand Theft Auto 3. I would say the weakest of all of the protagonists in the game. So I don't think he's going to rank very highly. He's definitely not wasted. I think we would be okay with people knowing that we know each other, but I think he's probably not going to get too far past that. So I think we're going to go with the, you're cool, but just don't call me at home, dude. Like we're good on that. And then I think we got to stick with Grand Theft Auto 3 and the dude that kind of helps you the most when you meet him for the first time. And that's going to be our good old friend 8-Ball. 8-Ball helps you out quite a bit. Oh, 8-Ball helps you bomb the base, if you remember that. 8-Ball is a pretty chill dude. He's always very excited. I think he kind of gets forgotten about because I think GTA 3 in general kind of gets forgotten about. It certainly didn't have the level of personality that Vice City or San Andreas had, but I have fond memories of hanging around with 8-Ball. I think he is a pretty chill dude, and because of that, 8-Ball can go to any of my barbecues that he wants. I think he would be a good barbecue guest. There isn't too much more that we can really pull from GTA 3, so we are going to go into the world of Vice City and one of my personal favorite characters from Vice City, and that is one Mr. Kent Paul. Kent Paul is also in San Andreas. Kent Paul is a scam artist, a con man, a flim-flam man, a tomfoolerist, if you will. He makes a lot of claims. But he likes the club scene. He manages his band, Love Fist. He maybe gets involved with a biker gang that he probably shouldn't have, and then he goes into San Andreas, bringing the gurning chimps to California. Or I'm sorry, San Andreas, Los Santos. But Kent is always very fun. He is a bright spot of Vice City, but because he is a tomfoolerist by trade, I don't know if we can have known associations with him. I think he's going to end up being in that we're not friends, officer. I only know him from work. Because you know, if you're hanging out with Paul Kent, Kent Paul, you are eventually going to be investigated by some type of group of authorities. All right. Another pure highlight of Grand Theft Auto Vice City is our dude, Ken Rosenberg. Everybody needs a crooked lawyer in their life, somebody that's willing to go to bat for you, somebody that's going to help you as much as he possibly can. He is going to be right there, neck and neck with the cops, trying to save his client. That's exactly who you want fighting for you. And I think he and 8 Ball would probably have a lot to talk about at that barbecue. So he's going to be there with us. Hey, Ken Rosenberg, you're invited to the barbecue, my friend. All right, next up, somebody, I don't want to give spoilers, but somebody who is not invited to the barbecue, that backstabbing bastard, Lance Vance, The Last Dance, Lance Vance. We do not want him anywhere around us because he is a bad man. He stabs Tommy Vercetti in the back. He is ruled by greed and power. And because of that, Lance Vance, despite the fact that you are voiced by the man who brought Rico Tubbs to life, you are wasted, my friend. We are not going to allow you to go anywhere near our barbecue. We don't even want you. We wouldn't even call you to hide a body. I don't want you knowing my home phone number. Don't ever come near me again, Lance Vance. You are no good. Speaking of, well, he is a criminal, so I guess you could say he's no good, but he's an all right dude. Tommy Vercetti. Tommy Vercetti, I would say, obviously he was the first memorable protagonist to a Grand Theft Auto game. Because he was voiced, the late great Ray Liotta brought him to life. Claude had no personality, although I would say that Tommy Vercetti, I don't know if he's the most memorable of our GTA protagonists over the years. I think he was surrounded by an excellent supporting cast, people that maybe had a little bit more life to him, but Tommy Vercetti, he's not the worst guy in the world. I think he's probably above Claude's status of not calling me at home. And I think, if he was motivated enough, maybe there was some financial incentive, I could see us maybe making a phone call to have him help us hide a body. And speaking of dead bodies, why don't we talk about some dead weight? Because this guy, his name is Big Smoke, but it should be more like Big Joke, because he turned his back on CJ and we have now moved firmly into the world of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I will admit that San Andreas is the game that I've spent the least amount of time with, but I didn't need to spend too much time with Big Smoke to know that he is not a good person. I would never invite him to my barbecue. I would never call him and expect him to be relied upon. I would not want him to call me at home, certainly. And I would also not want the authorities to know anything about him. I would prefer if he is dead, down at the bottom, wasted, hanging out with Lance Vance. They can dance together in hell for all I care. But we cannot leave San Andreas without our main man from San Andreas, CJ Carl Johnson. CJ, he's got a troubled life, maybe got into some situations that he would rather forget about. He has to deal with moving trains, and that's never easy. It's not easy, living in the world of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. But I think overall, CJ is an enduring character from the franchise. And I think most people would say that he gets barbecue status along with Ken and 8 Ball. And you know what? I'm okay with saying that as well. I think he would be fun to have around. I think he could tell a good story. He could hold court, keep everybody entertained. Probably knows how to cook up a pretty good hot dog if called upon, if the need arose. And I think we're okay with having him around. Sticking with San Andreas, maybe the shadier side of San Andreas, the truth, or Dollar Store Willie Nelson. But the truth, he's maybe a little skeptical on things. He's got some stuff going on in his head. He might be on his own planet, but he's got a lot of product on his hand. A purveyor of certain mind-altering substances, and I think the truth is just trying to have a good time. But I think maybe he is the type of guy that I wouldn't go so far as to say that I don't want people to know that I know him, but I would go so far as to say that you're a cool dude, Truth, but I don't necessarily want you hitting me up at home. I don't. We can interact with each other outside of my domestic boundaries, but I don't know if I necessarily need you to know what I've got going on. And it is now time to leave the world of San Andreas behind and enter the world of my cousin, everybody's favorite. And we're going to start with Nico, though. Nico, the protagonist of Grand Theft Auto 4. I think Nico might be the one protagonist out of all of them that genuinely was probably a decent person. He came to Liberty City to buy into the American dream that his cousin Roman was selling him. He needed to find somebody, a ghost from his past, trying to right some wrongs. He is a good dude that gets caught up in a bad situation. And, that happens to all of us from time to time. We end up maybe taking the left turn when we should have taken the right turn. And we find ourselves in a little bit of an issue. And I think Nico deserves better than a lot of the things that happened to him in his life. I think Nico is a swell dude. And he is definitely willing to help you hide a body. He puts others before himself many times. Invited to the barbecue. That's difficult. I love Nico. I think, you know what? I think he provides a good counterpoint to some of the people on this list already and may show up in the future on this list. And his cousin Roman is up next. I think Roman is probably a lot of people's favorite side character of all time from this franchise. He is a barrel of laughs. He is a good time. That's for sure. A lot of comic relief to, GTA 4, probably the darkest of all of the GTAs when it comes to a storyline perspective. And I think Roman was a good bright spot in all of that. And I would want Roman around as much as possible because he seems like the kind of guy that can have a good time. And because of that, he can come with his cousin and they can come over. They can bring some Eastern European potato salads or something like that. All right. Next up, one of the more disappointing side characters in GTA 4, Manny Escuela. Manny Escuela is a liar. Let's just get that right out of the way. Manny Escuela is a liar, and he is then murdered. And he is a little bit of an annoyance. And you could tell that he probably rubs Nico the wrong way. And I would say that he probably rubs a lot of people the wrong way in his life. But Manny is, he claims that he was a former heroin addict. He is now clean, and he wants to make a documentary about, running this youth center. And he also, the man can dance, he can boogie, he can get down, but not good enough. I don't think he's as bad as these guys down here. but hey, officer, I only know him from work, and you may want to investigate him for several counts of fraud. You don't say my name, don't tell anybody who told you, but I think maybe, I think maybe you gotta go away. All right. Probably the biggest annoyance in GTA 4, one of the worst characters by far, and that's Vladimir. Vladimir is kind of the first big kind of bad guy you run into in GTA 4. He is not a good person. He is very rude to a lot of people, including all of the women in his life. He is sexist, and he is not nice to Nico and not nice to Roman. He kind of is a big bully, and he gets what he deserves when he's put down by Nico. And, because of that, you die in GTA, you are wasted, my friend. Nobody wants you around, Vladimir. The world is a better place because you are gone. All right, let's get some personality going again. And I think we need to talk about Bruce. I'm sorry, Brucey. Brucey really enjoys steroids. He really enjoys injecting bull shark excrement of some sort into his veins. He has nice cars, so I guess he has that going for him. But Brucey is the kind of person, for me personally, would get on my nerves within about 10 seconds. But I could certainly see every once in a while you want to torture yourself a little bit, and you take him out for a ride around town, and maybe you can go and do an activity with each other. And I think because of that, he's cool. I wouldn't want him calling me at home. I would prefer to call him, or maybe I stop by and we hang out. But I don't know if I want him showing up at my house. But he's not the worst, I guess. But he's got some stuff going on. There's some stuff happening with him. And he shows up in multiple games. He's not just around in just GTA 4. He does pop up in GTA 5 as well. We are not done with GTA 4. No. One of the coolest dudes in GTA 4, Lil Jacob. He introduced the concept of Jamaica to all of us. Jamaica really had fallen off since Cool Runnings in the mainstream media. I think most people had no idea what Jamaica was before Cool Runnings. And then they forgot about it. And then Lil Jacob brought it back. Jacob, he helps you out a lot. He's got your back when all of this stuff with Mikhail goes down. He's with you until the end. He pops up in the endings of the game. If you get the ending with Roman's wedding, he's there. He is good friend to Nico, and because of that, he's up there and he's invited to the barbecue. Our barbecue, more people than I thought shaping up and hanging out at this barbecue with us. We have to clear some spots up here. You didn't realize how many chill dudes there were in the GTA universe. Usually they're deranged madmen, but he's all right. Next up, a guy that I think got a really bad rap in these games, and that's Johnny Klebitz. Johnny, the Lost and Damned was an awesome expansion for GTA 4. Not just from a story perspective, but from a gameplay perspective, they reworked how the motorcycles worked. So, you kind of associate with him making the game better. But then in GTA 5, they do him real dirty. He ends up addicted to meth and murdered. He is stomped to death by one Trevor Phillips, which is never a good thing. And, Johnny, they kind of portray him as having the heart of gold, but he's the big tough biker. I don't know. I think with the way he kind of goes down, he ends up kind of being a little bit of a disappointment. And I think he's probably the kind of guy, even though he's a decent dude, because, these guys, Manny's kind of a piece of shit, but Kent's not too bad, but I think he's going to end up down here. I just don't think he rises above with how he ends up going out. And we are going to move on now from GTA 4 with our last GTA 4 character, and that is Luis Fernando Lopez from the Ballad of Gay Tony. I truly believe that Luis was the prototype for Franklin in GTA 5. Luis kind of has a very similar story to Franklin. You know, he's just trying to get out of the situation he's in. He has the issues with his mom, and you know, Franklin has the issues with his aunt. You know, he kind of does work for this more experienced guy in Gay Tony, just like Franklin ends up doing work for a more experienced guy in Michael. I think they're kind of, you know, one and the same in that regard. But I don't know if he's quite invited to the barbecue. I don't know if we get to know him enough to make that determination. I think the barbecue is getting a little crowded, and maybe we got to be a little picky here with who we're going to invite. But Luis would 100% help you hide a body because he is loyal. He is a good dude. So maybe, you know, maybe he can't come to this barbecue, every barbecue, but he can come to some barbecues. You know, he can come, maybe not when we're having brisket, but he can come when we're having pulled pork, you know, that kind of thing. All right. We'll hit up our, actually, we'll start with the side characters here in GTA 5. This is one that I actually really liked, and I know some people would probably consider him a forgotten character, but that's Chef. Chef is good at making meth. Chef likes meth. Chef is also good at guns. Chef is good to bring along on the heists. He is very effective. He is a good soldier. You know, I don't know if he's best friend material, but he's the kind of guy that you know, he's down to help, and I think he falls firmly into the same category as Luis, and he's gonna help you hide a body. He also is probably afraid of you if you are in a situation where he is working for you. So I think that, you know, I think he kind of falls into that soldier category along with Luis. You know, he's good at taking orders. He's gonna help you out. Next up, everybody's favorite bootleg juggalo, Wade. Wade is Trevor's punching bag until he meets Trevor's cousin, or Wade's cousin, and then he becomes the punching bag. But you know, Wade's an interesting fellow. You know, he's fairly good at following directions, but not the best. But, you know, I'm not going to hold the fake juggalo stuff against him. You know, whoop whoop, down with the clown, all that good stuff. But I don't think he's going to help you hide a body, or he probably would, but he would probably mess it up and lose the body. So I don't know if that's a good idea. And then, you know, I don't know if I want him calling me at home. I think he's probably firmly in the category of we're not friends, officer. I only know him from work. You know, we can associate when we're doing business together, if we're accomplishing a task, but I don't know if I want you associating with me when I'm just kind of out and about. Like, if we were to run into each other at the mall, I don't know if I really want to have that interaction with him. Alrighty, next up on the list, one of the great pieces of shit in GTA history, and that is Devin Weston. Devin Weston thinks that just because he has money and some connections, he can boss everybody around, but no, sir, you cannot. You are a horrible person. I want you to go away forever. You are absolutely terrible and, you know, not good. But thankfully, you know, he meets his end at the bottom of a gorge after being pushed off of a cliff, being in the trunk of a car, which is a fitting end because he ends up not only wasted in the game, but wasted on our list, sir. No, you do not deserve to be any higher than that. All right. Let's see here. Well, I think to kind of go along with him, Steve Haynes, Agent Steve Haynes, I would say more annoying than Devin Weston. Devin Weston's a colossal pile of garbage, but definitely not anywhere near as annoying as Steve Haynes. You could probably learn something from Devin Weston because he is successful at business. I don't think you can learn anything but how to be a jackass from Steve Haynes. I do appreciate his, you know, delusions of grandeur, trying to have his own television show. It's how he meets his demise, which is very fitting. But if you think he's going to appear anywhere besides Wasted on this, that's a fitting place for him. All right, let's get back to people that are good people, good company. You can have a good time with them, and that's Lamar. Lamar's that friend that's giving you shit all the time. You joke back and forth. He's going to make fun of your yee ass haircut. He might annoy your friends, but you keep him around because he's always there for you. He's got your back. He might be a little delusional as well. You might have that in common with Steve Haynes, but he is a solid dude. I think he would definitely help you hide a body, but everybody knows Lamar's rightful place is at the barbecue, because he would have a hell of a good time. I think he and Roman would stay up all night telling the best stories and then get into a gigantic argument for probably about 3 hours, start throwing shit at each other, slap fighting and rolling around on the ground, and then go back to joking around, 20 minutes later. I think those two, that's the hookup you want to have. They need to bring back these two in GTA 6, and you have a good time there. And then we're going to wrap things up with the main three dudes in GTA, and we'll start with everybody's favorite lovable psychopath, Trevor Phillips. Trevor is certainly very entertaining. You never know what he's going to be up to when you switch to him in the game. He flies off the handle very easily, has a lot of very interesting personality quirks. He claims to be an incredibly loyal person, but that loyalty comes with a high price, because then you have to have him in your life. And he's not a super good person. I wouldn't put him all the way down here with this list of, Satan's minions. But I don't think I would want to really hang out with Trevor, because I feel like that would be a little bit too unpredictable, a little too illegal, and probably a little too dangerous for my health. I think we're going to put him into the plausible deniability section over here with these guys, and he and Wade can hang out, and they could talk about Johnny being dead. And I think Trevor would get a big kick out of these two con artists. Trevor's a good appreciator of con artists, so I think that they would all probably get along fairly well with each other. And then let's go with Michael. Michael is an interesting dude. Took a deal with the feds to try and start a new life. Ended up kind of, letting everybody, in a way, walk all over him. But Michael is a very effective person. He is a motivated person under the right circumstances. Not necessarily a bad person per se from a friend perspective. Obviously, in the eyes of society, in the eyes of the law, a fairly bad person. But I could see us having a decent time with Michael, but I think he might be too volatile for the barbecue. And I think, I think he would probably be right in line here with helping us hide a body. He would probably need to be financially compensated, but I do think that he could eventually upgrade himself to the barbecue. He does really take on that kind of father-son mentorship with Franklin. And speaking of Franklin, we're going to end things with Franklin. Franklin Clinton. GTA 5 is really kind of Franklin's story. He essentially turns his life around from nothing into something. That something might not be great because it's highly illegal, but at the end of the game, if you played your cards right, he's a very, very rich man, and also shot a bunch of billionaires and millionaires in the head to try and prevent, economic crisis and things like that. And, Franklin is, I think, one of the most memorable characters in all of Grand Theft Auto's history. And I think because of that, he is rocketed right to the top of being in the barbecue here. This is not in order from left to right of who is the coolest. It's just, we're doing top to bottom, not left to right. But I think Franklin and Nico would probably have some interesting philosophical conversations. Maybe he and CJ could talk about how Los Santos has changed. You know, he and 8-Ball probably get along pretty well. I think you get along with Jacob pretty good. I think he and Ken would have a lot of legal discussions to get into with maybe how to wisely protect that money. And of course, he and Lamar can argue, and Roman can argue. There'd be a three-way argument going on with those guys. But that's going to do it for me. Grand Theft Auto is my favorite franchise of all time. Many of these characters, my favorite characters in all of video game history, and myself, along with many, many others, eagerly awaiting the next entry in the franchise. But that's going to do it for us. Leave a comment down below with your favorite Grand Theft Auto characters. And that's going to do it for me. We'll see you again real soon.